Hey Yugi Tubers, this is Varick Shadows here. It's my first YouTube video, so bear with me. I apologize that the video and the sound probably isn't the best, but well, let's get going. So this video is over my Evol Deck profile. This deck, honestly, this meta is probably seriously underestimated by a lot of people. With two Trump monsters like Lagia and Dolka that completely shut down your opponent, it's got a lot of different versatility and good tools to counteract a lot of things. So here's the deck profile. So for the Evo tiles, we've got two Evo tile in the Jasho. I played it at 3 for a little while, and I just found it to be a little too slow, and late game it got really cloggy. My one option that I don't think most players play is one Evo tile Odonto. He counteracts and makes all the dead evil swords in your hand that you pull viable again. And then for your standard triple Evo tile Westlow, he is your main guy in this deck. He searches out any evil sword in your deck and puts it on the field with its effect intact. And that's it for my Evo tiles. Now for my evil swords, I run double Volcano. A lot of players out there run 3. I just found 3 kind of cloggy and it didn't add any consistency to the deck. He is a boss monster though. He retrieves any of your dead evil swords and graves and gives you a free Exe summon pretty much. Next I run double evil sword Diplo. Again, a lot of players run 3. I only do 2. With triple MST out there, you've already got a lot of back row hate, so I only think you really need to run them at 2. And then, like most players, I do triple Evil Sword Serato. Serato's your big beater in the deck, starting out at 1900, getting the 200 bonus when he gets his effect. And on top of it, he's your Searcher. So, honestly, I think you gotta run 3. And then for my last Evil Sword, which most people probably don't play, I play one Evil Sword Darwino. I really like Darwino just because he combos really well with Westlow and gives you access to the rank 5 Xyz. So, yeah, that's it for my evil monsters. And then I only actually have one other monster that isn't evil, and that is one Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi, honestly, for a long time, she was on the ban list and you couldn't play her. And she's pretty much like a continuous Book of Moon that you can use over and over again. So she gives you some really good combos with Westlow. A lot of big monsters out there don't have high D, so when you play her, she's a free Book of Moon, can just push over some things. And that's it for my monsters. Now moving on to my spell lineup. I run triple Evo Diversity. It's your main searcher in your deck, searches out any evil sword or evil tile. You can only activate one per turn, but usually that's all you need. For the most part, you're using these to search your Evo tiles because you really don't want evil swords in your hand, unless you've got Odonto, which even then, it's kind of iffy. Next up, Triple Evo Force. This card is just amazing, especially when you combo it with Najasho. Because even if, say, your opponent Solemn Warnings this card, the Tribute of Najasho is still the cost, so one way or another, if you play this card with Najasho, you're still going to get an Evo Sora on the field, as long as they don't Warning and Judgment combo, which rarely happens. Next, my one weird tech choice that I chose that most players probably don't is one Primordial Soup. This card, yeah, it's a continuous spell and it can be cloggy late game, but there's been so many times where I'll top into like 3 Evil Swords and then I draw into this card and it's like, yes, because then I play it, put 2 of those dinosaurs back, and then my hand becomes a lot better. So that's just my personal preference. I've noticed that it works really well for me. I don't know about anyone else. And then, so pretty much for consistency purposes, 2 dualities. A lot of the times this card, it's like, do I want to play it? Do I not? But it's just how you play the deck. And then for my tech, 1 Book of Moon, because it's a really good card. 1 Forbidden Lance to protect your Xyz from spells and traps. 1 Econ. It's really good to combo, hit it on Najasho, Tribute, Special and Evil Sword, and take control or switch and take control of your opponent's monster, so you can go into some pretty good Xyz plays there. Only 1 MST because you've got Diplo for back row hate. Then I run the Trium, Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole. and then for recycle purposes, 1 Pot of Avarice. And that is it for my spells. Now for my trap lineup, it's fairly simple. It's really not anything special. 1 Solemn Judgment, 1 Warning, double Bottomless Trap Hole, double Compulsory Evacuation Device. Honestly, I think this card is underrated this meta. Not many people play it, but it's really good because you can draw out MST baits with it and still get a good playoff with it. You can save your own monsters from Dark Hole. It's very versatile. And then double Fiendish Chain. Now, yeah, a lot of people question why don't I run D Prisons to defend my monsters or a Mirror Force. And yeah, those cards are great and all, but sometimes in matchups those are hard to side out. These basic 6 traps right here are probably the easiest things to side out in the game. If you're going up against a deck that really relies heavily on Graveyard Effect, you can take Fiendish Chain out and side in one of your extra side deck cards. Compulse, usually I don't side out too often. BTH, if you're playing a deck that just has a lot of low attack point monsters, it's just, yeah, these 6 are really easy to side out and versatile. And that is it for my main deck. Now for my extra deck, I run 2 Evolzar Dolka. It's a really good card, negates effects from anywhere. So yeah, he's solid. Then 2 Evolzar Lagia. He's pretty much a God Says No to everything except monster effects, but that's why you have Dolka. And then here's my sexy Lagia. I love her. So yeah. 1 Zen Mains and 1 Levier the Sea Dragon. I only run 2 3-stars just because Westlow is the only 3-star monster in the deck, but there's occasions where I can pull a Monster Reborn. I'll have 2 on the field. I can go into Levier to get a banished Evilsaur, or Zen Mange just to give me some good stall. Then I've got 1 Abyss Dweller. He's negates effects engraved, got 1700 attack, so he's pretty good. Then 1 Maestroke the Symphony Dungeon. He, like Tsukiyomi's a free Book of Moon, 1800 attack, so he's a lot more viable to push over some things that Tsukiyomi can't. Now then, 1 Wind-Up Zenmeister. He makes some sick combos with Westlow on the field. So like you'll have a Westlow, flip your Westlow, say you special Volcano for an XZ into Lagia. Well, and say he's already on the field. Well, you hit him, you set your Westlow, flip Westlow again at the end of the turn for a Diplo and pop 1 back row before your opponent's turn starts. He's just a really good comboer with Westlow. Yeah. And then 1 number 16 Shockmaster. This deck hits 3 4-star XZs like a boss. And Shockmaster speaks for himself. He's got some of the best stall negation in the game, and it really shuts your opponent down. Next, 1 number 39 Utopia. It's just a good staple, good attack negator. Next, 1 Vylon Disigma. It's a really good card this format, especially if you have a deck that can hit 3 4-star XZs really easily. Then my 2 5-star XZs, Freezerdon and Volcasaur. Yeah, lots of people are like, why don't you use Tyrus or Adrius? I just like how these combo, because Freezerdon can give you a Lagia twice, and Volcasaur gives you some burn damage, and as long as they have another monster, he can push over it too. And that's why I like him. And then the 1 card right now, it is King of the Feral Imps. He's a good card to search out evil tiles. Honestly, though, I'd rather switch him out for an Evil Swarm Oreobos. So if anyone has one and wants to trade it, I'll probably upload my trade binder video here within the next couple days. But yeah. So this deck, honestly, its base from what I have, it's really good for a lot of matchups, but there's those decks out there like E-Dragons and Evil Swarms that sometimes you kind of need some help. So that's where my side deck comes in. For my side deck, I run 2 Droll and Lockbird. Right now I'm looking for the second if anyone's got one for trades. But this card is seriously, it shuts down E-Dragons. It searches down any deck that's heavy on searches. So it's pretty much like a Thunder King, except it's a hand trap. So say you're playing E-Dragons, they do their little baby drop or search or whatever. You drop your Droll and Lockbird. They can't search for the rest of the turn. And unlike Thunder King, where you can still draw instead of searching, Droll and Lockbird makes it so you can't even draw. So it's a really good card. Then I run Two-Dimensional Fissure. Honestly, this deck can play with this card on the field fairly easily. So yeah. Then I do one Forbidden Lance. I've already got the other one in main deck. Sometimes I just need some more protection for my Lagia or my Dolka against their Spell and Trap 1-pop. So yeah. And then I only run one MST side deck. I've got the one main deck, but plus the two Diplos, it's almost like running four. Now for Evil Swarm matchups, just because they're a pain in the butt to get around a lot of the time, I do double Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. It stops their casters, it stops their Circeans, it stops Ophians, so it gives you a really good, strong matchup against them. Now, one card I'm kind of testing this out still right now is Vanity's Emptiness. It's neither player can special summon cards. When one of your cards from your hands or field is sent to the grave, it's destroyed. But it's a really good card to hit like on an E-Dragon play. They're like, oh, I'm going to drop my baby dragon, drop this other card to special my big one. Oh, no, I'm going to hit Vanity's Emptiness. And since both of those drops were a cost, they still have to drop and they don't get their special. So it's a really good card. One of my personal techs, just because I think it's really good, is Trap Stun. It's like a mini Royal Decree, and against burn decks, I see it comes in real handy because they'll go like Just Desserts, like 3 Just Desserts and a Ceasefire, and it's like, oh, Trap Stun. I don't take any damage, and you just wasted your entire back row. Another card I put in here for a matchup against E-Dragons, just because they're probably the best deck this format right now, is 2 Gozen Match. So you pretty much you force them to play their MST, or you force them to go for their blaster drop to get rid of this, instead of maybe getting rid of like your Lagia or your Dolka or another monster that can really help you out. And then my last card for side deck that is just amazing this meta is Soul Drain. I've actually got my second Soul Drain coming in the mail. This card is amazing against E-Dragons in the fact that it stops all effects in grave and banishment. So it's like, oh, I'm going to drop for my special Soul Drain, so they still have to pay their cost on the drop, and they don't get their special. And on top of it, say they dropped for the Blaster effect. Well, Blaster can't get its effect anymore because you already used one of his effects for the drop. So that's my Evol deck. Comment, rate, subscribe below, and peace out.